I will be a rebel. I will disobey. I will riot, and there's nothing you can do about it. This flower, my flower, was the root of all my problems. This flower needed to be deflowered, but before then, it needed to fall from its place of blossom. It's now cracked open, and from its lips, it bleeds. This flower was thriving in its habitat atop the tree, but some harsh conditions brought it down. Years later, it was forcefully deflowered, and it now lies here, defeated. I remember that painful day with so much anger and frustration. I was 18, straight from high school. My husband Troy dragged me into his house on our wedding night. And like a hungry lion, he tore through the threads that had put my flower together for all those years. I covered my mouth with my hands and cried quietly because I couldn't bear being looked at by my neighbors as a weak woman. After all, I had gone through training 8 years before on how to become a woman. That night was the beginning of a lot of violence. He did not believe me when I cried and said that it hurt so bad, even though he could see it on my face. And he never cared to look at my down there, because then, if there was any soul left in that man, he would have empathized. No. He had broken through and opened that wound all over again, and the pain that I felt in 2006 resurrected. I was 10. I noticed this young, beautiful woman who would walk by my house every day and smile and wave at me. So one day when Troy was out at work, I invited her over. She came and we had a good conversation. I was alone and lonely for so many years, and this house of terror reminded me of the house I was taken to when I was 10 to get there. This house needed some warmth from the smiling lady. She hugged me and we cried together because I told her everything. Everything. She came by a few more times after, but it had to be only when Troy was at work. I was not allowed to have friends in this foreign land. She asked me why I had scars on my face. I couldn't hide them for too long or too well. The last time I saw her, she had come to my door with government officials. She said they'd come to help me escape from this misery. I remember thinking that history would repeat itself. I remember that night when my mother and my aunt said that we were going on a trip. I prayed that history wouldn't repeat itself. She apologized and helped me pack my clothes into my bag. I did follow the government officials. I didn't know where they would take me, but I was willing to take the chance. Taking my weapon from this cave did not guarantee a win, but I did it. Anything was better than here. They will cut and cut and cut. Sometimes they will chop it all off. But here's the fun part. They will take a needle and thread and piece you up. I was 10. I walked and played on this path every day to and from school. I did not once imagine that it would be on this same path that I would cry so many tears and shed so much blood. Friday evening. I had finished my homework, so was out playing with my cousins. When I came back slightly after dark, I found my mama chatting gleefully with her sister. She gave me a big hug and told me that she'd come to pick us up. We were going on a weekend trip. I excitedly packed the 2 dresses I owned in one of Mama's baskets and followed them down the dark path. The same path I used every day. My own Mama and her sister deceived, betrayed, and abandoned me in this old dark house. Blood was dripping on my leg from that dreadful wound that snake had inflicted. I was screaming and wailing so much from the pain that it deafened the entire village. The whole village was filled with my curses and groans. I uttered words I did not know that I knew. The villagers came out to see which drunken child that was. No, they did not come out. They knew exactly what was going on and they did not care. I was 10. I was locked up in that house and couched on the cold floor for 1 week, alone. It was training, they said, a ritual I had to go through. But I was 10. I was 10. I was 10. I was filled with grief. But it is in those days that I experienced something about the human mind. The power to make a change. The power to stay sane. I did not know how long I would be stuck in that house, but I knew that I had to stay alive for such a day as this, and so that no other child can go through the horror I went through.